What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some never-before-seen footage of Tank Dell running one-on-ones in college. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it could teach you a few new things, but also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver or a quarterback and would like to train with us this offseason, we are traveling out to 5 more states across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camps. Next up, we are coming out to Austin, Texas. That camp is completely sold out, but then we'll be heading out to Seattle, Newark, Denver, and Los Angeles, California. So if you guys would like some more information, check out that very first link in the description below. And also, if you are a QB or a wide receiver coach and would like to take part in one of our coaching clinics, also check out that very first link in the description below where you can find out all the information on that. Let's get started with this video. So these are some clips here from Tank Dell running one-on-ones in college, some practice film, and this really showcases how great of a route runner he is and really can showcase some things that you can add to your tool belt as a wide receiver to get better. So this first example here is going to be a 12 back to 10 yard curl route, and we're going to talk about his release, and we're going to talk about at the top of the route how you can decelerate on a dime like he does. I think one of the best attributes of Tank Dell's game is obviously his ability to change direction at the top, how smooth he gets in and out of his breaks, how much explosion he has, and we will get to that. But let's talk about this release first. So I judge a route runner or a wide receiver in general by their football IQ. How are they structuring their routes? Are they running routes efficiently? Are they creating separation by what they do, number one, off the line? And Dell does that here. So pre-snap, he sees this look. This is an inside shade coverage DB, maybe about a yard, maybe 2 yards away, and he has to run an outside breaking route. So a lot of wide receivers, when they have to run an outside breaking route and they get this inside shade press look, they just think, okay, I could just take off and go run to the outside and get up into my route. But that is exactly what this DB wants you to do. Before every single snap, a wide receiver should be identifying a DB's leverage because that tells him about the coverage he is trying to play. Yes, some DBs are crafty. They will try to change up their leverage. They'll line up inside shade, then they'll shoot outside, vice versa. But more often than not, especially if you're at a lower level than college, DBs will show their hand very, very early. So when this DB's inside shade, we know a couple things. Number one, he's trying to take away the inside route. So he's trying to stop a slant, trying to stop a dig, a post, anything that goes over the middle. And he is trying to force us to the outside. So if my thought process is, okay, he's inside shade, I'm just going to take off and go run. That's what he wants us to do. He's going to get hands on my hip. He's going to squeeze me to the sideline. And if I had to run a route, like let's say maybe an outside breaking route, a comeback, or even a curl, I don't have the space to be able to do that. So the best way to get some separation off the line is let's threaten the DB where he doesn't want me to go, with the routes that he doesn't want me to run. And what's a route that he doesn't want us to run? A slant. So you see how Dell comes off the ball, gives us a little hesitation move, but he gives this jab to the inside. Just a quick jab, but just something that threatens his leverage. He gives a little shoulder fake, a little hip fake to the inside. All we need is just this DB to hesitate. We don't even need him to move off balance like so. We just need him to hesitate because that will give me more space to operate to the outside, but also that sells the vertical more because now when I burst up into this route and you actually know how to sell your routes, this DB is in that oh shit mode where we're getting beat over the top. He's flipping his hips. He's trying to recover the best he can because he does not want to get embarrassed deep. But that is what opens up routes underneath. Now, leading up to that break point, as a wide receiver, I can't give away the route. I can't give away the break because this DB is going to put the brakes on and be able to read when I'm actually making this cut. So leading up into the break, you got to maintain 3 specific things. And this goes for any single route, whether you're running a route against zone coverage or whether you're running a route against press coverage. And Dell does this so well on every single route. If you see film of him running at the Senior Bowl, you see actual live game film. When he runs routes, he doesn't give away any indicators. So an indicator is something that right before the break point, it tells the DB that you're making a break. And there's 3 common indicators. The first one is a change in speed, right? Leading up to the break, wide receivers will come off the ball fast, they'll run hard, and then right before the break, they slow down. Dell doesn't do that. The second one that wide receivers will do is they'll shorten up their stride. So same thing, right before the break, they'll run up and they start to take all these choppy steps because they're preparing for the break. And again, when you slow down, when you chop your stride, it's easier to run routes that way because you're not running full speed. It is hard to run full speed and it's hard to change direction on a dime. But we're going to talk about that and how you can do that and the reason why Dell is so good at that. And then the last thing that gives away the route is a raise up in pad level. Because wide receivers know to be able to get into a break that you have to drop this low. You have to drop low. You got to drop your butt down. You got to drop your hips. You have to quote unquote snap down. So wide receivers before the break point will raise up with their chest and almost pop their chin up so they can actually get momentum and drop low. But that's an indicator. When a DB's in man coverage, he is watching those hips and he sees your hips raise, that's a tell. So let's think chin down. Let's think chest slightly ahead of my waist. Let's maintain my stride. And then at the break point, the thing that slows us down is my hips. Now, there's two specific things that'll get you in and out of a break fast like this. And this is going to help with, times where you have to drop your hips and run a dig, where you have to run like a hitch, a stop route, a comeback, or even a curl. So when you drop, first and foremost, you want to think of it like you're sitting your butt down in a chair. I tell my wide receivers to play musical chairs. When the music stops, you sit in a chair very fast. That's how I want you to think at the top of the break. We sit into the chair fast, but I don't want to be leaning straight back with my chest. I don't want to be on my heels because that will cause my weight to fall backwards and I'll fall off balance. I want to think sit in the chair, but I want to bring my chin to my knee. When your chin goes to your knee, that puts you in an explosive pad level position, just a pretty much explosive overall position to put the brakes on. You're changing that center of gravity and that helps you get out of that break even faster. That is a textbook route there by Tank Dell. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job attacking the leverage and the dropping in and out of this break to win on that curl. Okay, so now, second example I want to go over here is a slant route versus a DB who's in like catch technique, if you will. So what is catch technique? And you got to be careful with this release too, because you don't want to take too long with this because this will waste a lot of time with your quarterback. However, when you have a DB who's in catch technique is where he's maybe like a yard or two off and he is hoping that the wide receiver just tries to run around him so he can get hands. Usually this works best on like, let's say a fade, right? So like, let's say Dell here has to run like just this fade downfield, deep four verts concept. And you'll see catch technique from a DB because he wants us to just maybe give a quick move, not close any space, and just try to run around him so this DB could get hands and cut us off and squeeze us to that sideline. Anytime that there is space between us and the DB, we have to close the space. We have to bring the line of scrimmage to him. So now if we have to run a slant, and let's say this DB's shaded a little bit to the inside, obviously we can't just square him up, give him a fake, and then go, because his sole responsibility is to protect the inside. So if we attack him, he's going to keep his leverage. So what Dell does here is he closes the space, then goes up into something called a diamond release, right? So a diamond release is the 3 hard steps, 1, 2, 3, that he takes at the DB's outside shoulder and outside hip. But he closes the distance first. That's the most important thing that I want you guys to see. Because if he would have just came off the ball here and taken those 3 hard steps to the outside, but left a 2-yard gap in between him and the DB, this DB, because Dell would be breaking here, DB would be here, but at the end of the day, we still have to get to the slant. We still have to get to the spot where the quarterback's going to throw the ball. That DB can cut off the angle because we didn't close the distance. We didn't step on his toes. To make it an easier break, we have to close the space. We got to get into his toes. We got to get into his cushion, make him uncomfortable. So when I burst up, not only does this look like a fade to the outside, it makes it easier to slip under him and win the race to the spot of the throw. So now, what is a diamond release if you're not familiar with it? Like we said, it's those 3 hard steps to the outside. But when you take those 3 steps to the outside, we have to do exactly what I just said. We have to run hard. It's the same idea and the same principles as that curl route. Like if you want to be a good route runner and you're a receiver, you have to master being able to sell. You have to be a salesman first. You have to be able to sell every single route that you do, whether you're making it look like another route or whether you're making it look like a fade. But everything comes down to selling, fellas. And again, selling comes down to those 3 indicators: body language, speed, and stride. So the only way our goal with this diamond release is to get that DB to flip his hips, right? If we get him to flip his hips and open up the gate, if you will, that's success. That's me being able to slip underneath him. So the only way I'm going to do that is if I commit with my body language, right? You attack to the outside, your hips, your shoulders. I tell my wide receivers, think your belly button should be pointing to the back pylon, right? So if you commit those hips and shoulders all the way till that third step, that doesn't give away the route because that's where the DB is looking. A lot of wide receivers on this type of break, they'll take those 3 steps to the outside, but they'll start to turn. They'll turn the hip, turn the shoulder early before they even cut. Number one, that'll make the cut slow because if your body is going outside and your cut leg is out here, that's a good way to hurt yourself, number one, but two, like you're not going to have any drive off the cut. So commit to the cut, sell it as long as possible so we could have a good cut inside my frame, but also, again, create more separation. And then the other thing guys will do on this diamond release, one last thing, is they will take those choppy steps. Nobody runs a fade with choppy steps, fellas. They run a fade with full strides. That is how you get a DB to open up his hips. Let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great job by Dell closing the space to make that DB uncomfortable, but also making it easier to slip underneath. Okay, so this is a clip here, like kind of an aerial clip. He is going to be running an out route lined up at like the top of the numbers, right? So this DB, pretty much we could tell right off the get that he doesn't have any help to the inside, right? So again, usually when a DB sees a wide receiver line up at the top of the numbers, he usually plays outside leverage. Because why? Usually when a wide receiver cuts their split down, they will probably run an outside breaking route like a comeback, like an out, like maybe a box where they're running a box cornered, but they need space to the sideline, right? So Dell is going to be running this 10-yard out here. And I want you to pay attention to how he attacks this DB inside to give him more space, okay? So let's play at full speed. So he comes off, attacks the DB inside, pushes up vertical, and then is able to win on that out route. So let's talk about it, right? If this DB is inside shade, again, what is his responsibility? Protect the inside. So we have to sell like I am running a slant, like I'm running a dig. So that is what's going to get him to move because he has leverage responsibilities, fellas. His responsibility he will get chewed out if he lines up inside leverage and gives up an inside route and doesn't force it all the way inside to a safety or into another route to disrupt spacing on the play. So that's what we have to sell as a wide receiver. That's the best way to get him to move. So you see how Dell, when he actually makes this release, he's actually outside the DB's frame. He started on the top of the numbers. You see how far he has moved off the line. That has to move the DB. He has to honor that. So many people are so choppy with their steps. They'll get this kind of coverage right here, and they'll do all this movement like behind the line of scrimmage trying to make this DB miss. Guys, you have to attack, and you actually have to threaten outside of his frame. Trust me, he has to move. Now, you might be asking, what if he doesn't move, right? So let's say you do this and you attack way to the inside here, but this DB doesn't move and he stays outside leverage. What should you probably do? Take the inside release. Take what he gives you. Let's go work to the top of the route. Maybe we stack him. Maybe he runs with me and I throw by and slip underneath. Press releases are a lot about having a plan, a lot about attacking a DB's leverage, but it's also about a reaction in case he takes it away. It's just as much about reacting as it is having a plan of attack off the line. But again, fellas, just because he was inside shade, Dell didn't just take off. And again, you could judge every wide receiver's ability to run routes by how they structure their releases and how they get off the ball. Because if he's inside shade and he were to just take off and go run, that DB would be right on his hip. And when he broke to that out route, I don't care how good the break is, maybe he even gets a little separation. That's not the most space for the quarterback to throw us open. Guys, we have to give the quarterback space. So let's try to move this DB the best we can. And when I push up vertical, let's get skinny. Let's get vertical. Let's get hip to hip with the DB. Let's play this again, full speed one more time. Great job by Dell attacking, pushing up fade, and then giving that quarterback room to throw him open. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, we are coming out to 5 more states this offseason for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps. Next up in Austin, Texas, that camp is sold out. Our Seattle camp will probably sell out, and then same thing with the next 3 camps. All camps will sell out this month. So I hope we can see you out there, fellas. Again, very first link in that description below. I'll see you guys next time.